This episode is sponsored by the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Featured entertainment includes David Lucas and Hans Kim on the 26th. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Plus, enjoy complimentary beverages when playing with your Penn Play card. Visit the Penn Play Center to sign up. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. WWE Hall of Famer and current AEW star Jeff Jarrett visits Nimio Field at Harry Grove Stadium in Frederick, Maryland tomorrow night. He joined me to preview his night at the ballpark, as well as discuss his journey as a third-generation star in professional wrestling, from his father's territory days to his own successful runs in the WWF, WCW, TNA, and now AEW.
Hello.
Hey, Jeff Jarrett. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in Washington, D.C.
Double J. We got us a Double J here, Jason. But no, Jason, thanks for having me on. I am glad to be on air with you today, chatting it up in all platforms, which will probably service this thing out. But no, looking forward to chatting with you a little bit today. But most importantly, I'm looking forward to come on up to Frederick, Maryland. We got a Keys ball game right down at the ballpark. And excited about that. It's that time of year. It's the dog days of summer, and baseball goes right hand in hand. So I get to take a break from my AEW schedule in the wacky world of professional wrestling, and I'm part owner of a team, baseball team over in Springfield, Illinois. So baseball is kind of true and blue to my heart. I love getting out. We're going to have a great night at the ballpark, capped off by fireworks. So looking forward to chatting with you. And maybe, just maybe, Jason, I'm looking for somebody who I don't want to say deserves a guitar shot, but I heard you need a guitar shot. Is that true?
Are you really asking if I want to wander down to the ballpark and take a guitar shot to the head? Is that what you're asking me?
Well, I mean, some people emailed me, and they acted like they were people, but they were like, just hit Jason. But the wacky request was they're asking if I can hit you with an electric guitar, and I think that's a little out of bounds.
Well, my wife is a musician, so it would kind of fit. We're talking. I should tell everyone. Yes, you did a great job setting it up. But let's remind everyone, it is WWE Hall of Famer and current AEW star Jeff Jarrett. How do you spell it again? There's a way to spell it. It's
I'm going to let you do that.
All right. It's JEFFJARRETT. Jeff Jarrett going to be coming.
You got to get the ha in there.
Coming to the Nimio Field at Harry Grove Stadium, home of the Frederick Keys, right down the street. I live in Frederick, so it's gonna be this Friday, tomorrow. Now, when you do that, are you bringing your guitar? I mean, the baseball bat is more of Sting's thing, but you would be guitar. Are you bringing it?
Look, when I show up at ballparks, you never know what's going to happen because you have all the in-game activities and entertainment. You got a little pregame. They give you a ball to maybe throw out the first pitch. So I hope that everybody behind backstop has their own gloves. You never know where a Double J ball may end up. But I never kind of leave home without two things, my toothbrush and a guitar. So you got to have the staples of life. No, I'm kidding. Who knows? I'm looking forward to seeing the fans. There's going to be a very cool autograph session. And like I said earlier, it's fireworks night. So when you come out to the ballpark on a Friday night, fireworks night, it's pretty cool. I got to always mention our sponsors. The entire evening is sponsored by Premium Distributors of Maryland. So as we know, those are the guys that write the checks. So we got to give them a shout out always.
Awesome. So yeah, there'll be a meet and greet there on the concourse from 6 to 8, and then you can meet the great legend Jeff Jarrett, and then watch the game, and then fireworks, and make a whole night of it. It's going to be awesome. Man, I've been coming to that ballpark since literally I was a kid. I remember seeing George H.W. Bush came, and we were throwing gloves up to him to sign him up in the balcony box. Now that was pre 9/11. Nowadays you couldn't do that, but but I wanted to ask, do you know why they're named the Frederick Keys? A little trivia for you.
Oh, here we go.
What's your guess?
It's the DC area. I think some people, it's the Virginia, Maryland, DC. you guys have all the different slangs for the area, but
The DMV.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Down here, the DMV, it stands for something. Um, we won't get into that,
Yeah,
but the DMV area,
you don't want to
yes.
waste it. The motor vehicles. You hate the
But
DMV
yes,
area.
the DMV area is known obviously for politics and
Yeah.
from a historical perspective. So Francis Scott Key, it's
Yeah,
a wild guess.
you got it. But it's even more specific than that. He's literally buried right behind the stadium. The hand that wrote the anthem is France Cut
Get
Keys right
out of
there.
here.
If you want to pop over and say, yeah, go check it out. A little sightseeing.
See, you just thought you were talking to a Hall of Fame wrestler. Little did you know that I may have some history crammed in this brain because my dad's side of the family, they were entertainment and wrestling and promoters and all that. On my mom's side of the family, all educators, professors and teachers and everything that goes with that. So Francis Scott Key, I think my mom's side of the family would be proud that I even remembered that name. So how about that?
Nice pull, that Jeff Jarrett, the historian. Well, you kind of mentioned your backstory. I'd love to remind folks of your superhero origin story, if we can call it that. Tennessee and born in '67, and of course, third generation wrestling family. Your grandpa was Eddie Marlin, NWA star. Your dad was the legendary Jerry Jarrett. Who were your favorites other than dad and grandpa growing up? Who'd you grow up admiring?
Well, you've already kind of given away that birth date, so you definitely need a slap, maybe even the face for that. But all kidding aside, no, growing up, my dad was business partners with Jerry the King Lawler, and so a lot of folks know the King as the color commentator for years and years on Monday Night Raw. But before that career, he was an incredible performer, and so the two guys that I really watched and. As a young child, obviously, we all had our fan favorites, and they were my idols. But the fabulous Jackie Fargo, he's the originator of the strut. A lot of folks give credit to the Nature Boy and a few others, but fabulous Jackie Fargo, Jerry the King Lawler. But Jason, from my earliest memories, I'm one of five kids, and I'm the only one of my family that continued into the business, and so from an early age I guess got the wrestling bug. So I watched everything I possibly could, just loved it, and to this day I love it more and more, and everything going on in the world. And at AEW, we're coming off Blood and Guts in Nashville, my hometown, but the so many moving parts. We're headed over to Wembley, not the arena, but stadium in the month of August. So there are so many hot things going on in the world of professional wrestling. It's a great time to be in the industry, and it's just very, very cool when I kind of reflect back not only on my career, but my grandmother got into the business in 1946 selling wrestling tickets. So it's a pretty cool thing to see how the business has evolved. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize grandma was in it too, selling tickets. That's fantastic.
Yep, she's the originator. On one side of the family, what was my grandmother, and then my grandfather, my step grandfather wrestled. So it is a wrestling family through and through.
Yes. There's more than one famous wrestling family. However that Cody Rhodes thing goes. All right. So and I do want to get to your AEW stuff later in the interview, but in the sake of trying to move chronologically, so you started in your dad's CWA in '86 or something, and then
back in those days, Jason, before cable television, North America was split up in 22 regional territories. My father's was the very last one that stood still promoting even into the late 90s. But the territory areas for cable television basically through the 80s. So I got to start in 1986 working in my family promotion, and then 93 I headed off to what we now call the WWE, but back in those days it was called the WWF. And I went back and forth on a contractual situation from WWF to WCW, back to WWF, and back to WCW before I founded TNA Wrestling.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you joined the then WWF in '93, and it was that country music gimmick. You were a heel and the Double J and doing the strut. Tell me about that first run in WWF. I guess, gosh, you were in the '94 Royal Rumble, eliminated by a legend in Randy Savage, and then you beat another legend in Razor Ramon the next year at the next Rumble. And I guess you're Intercontinental Champ at that point. You do a WrestleMania rematch with him, eventually lose to Shawn Michaels in your house. But yeah, do you have a favorite match from that first run there? Was it any of the ones I just said or something else?
Ironically, this week, July 23rd, was a match that I had against Shawn Michaels. Back in those days, it was called the In Your House series, but it was a In Your House pay-per-view back in July of '95 that in a lot of ways I think has stood the test of time. It is one of my favorites. I have, I'm asked that question kind of quite often. Give me some favorite matches, but I always like to say the series of matches that I had with the Shawn Michaels or Razor Ramon or Kurt Angle, just different eras. The match, and we'll get into the current stuff here in a minute, but, I've had some fantastic singles and tag matches on my latest run at AEW that at this stage of my career, Jason, I had no idea. It's safe to say that I had no idea that I'd be still rocking and rolling, but I'm very grateful for the opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to keep trying to bend your guitar string back slightly back in chronological order. So I know so you left for WCW in like 96, 97 and did some stuff with like the Four Horsemen versus NWO. I guess you beat Benoit at Starrcade and Malenko, US title, all that stuff. But then you come back to WWF in 97 and honestly, to be honest, I was born in 84, so this was kind of the era that I first remember you in, the Jim Cornette invasion, NWA invasion stuff. You lose your hair to X-Pac at SummerSlam 98. And then I wanted to ask you about the tag team with Owen Hart. That's what I really, really remember you for. And you did some IC stuff with Val Venus and Shamrock and all them. But yeah, just teaming with Owen Hart in that period. And is it kind of overshadowed in your mind by the tragedy of what happened, or can you look back and remember some good times tagging with Owen?
Well, and I know you're going in a chronological order, but coming off of the most recent Owen Hart Invitational Tournament AEW, I had a lot of time to reflect once again. And, that era in my career, that time frame, it was less than a year, candidly, that we got to tag together, but it was a special time. Getting the opportunity to actually be a tag partner with one of your best friends is always special and always unique. We were both sons of promoters, and that was kind of an original common bond, and then we just grew to really become great friends and loved one another, and really got tight through the years. And yes, the tragedy for so many years, it just overshadowed because it was such a tragic passing and a sudden passing. But as time has gone on, and as of late, we really got the opportunity, and I say we, AEW as a complete brand, to really talk about who Owen was as the person, and obviously the fantastic wrestling skills that he had. But I got that opportunity, like we're discussing, in 1998 and 99 to really team with him.
Oh, and from everything I've heard, just a great guy behind the scenes too, like pulling some famous ribs and stuff. Just you're so lucky to cherish those memories with him. All right, so then after that, then it's you leave back for WCW, and it's at the height of the Monday Night Wars. So was that a tricky decision for you, or after what went down with Owen, was it like I need to get a fresh start, somewhere different?
Every contract, set of circumstances throughout my career, it always comes down in two things. Obviously, the money, that is, what pays the bills and what's going on. But it's also about the next stage of your career. Where do you see yourself growing? And that was always what it was about. And at the time, there was a lot of moving parts. If you want to really get the deep dive to your listeners, I drop a new podcast every Tuesday, My World with Jeff Jarrett, and we've covered we've covered it all, and we continue to cover it all from different angles, but at the different times. But when it was when it came contract time in October of 1999, the opportunity, not only financially but growth, was really in front of me at WCW.
Yeah. And it paid off at least at first when you got there, because you became the WCW heavyweight champ. I guess you beat DDP. I think you beat Ric Flair a couple times to regain the belt there, and when you first came back over. So how proud were you to finally be the king of the mountain there?
There you go. Everybody that gets into this business, and I know things ebb and flow, but certainly, when you put on the boots for the first time, it has to go through everyone's mind. It certainly went through mine. I want to be world champion one day, and to finally fulfill that goal, the big gold belt, as they say. But in WCW, it was definitely a lifelong goal. And so I, put my mind on that, and it became a reality. And, like any business, wrestling isn't immune to it, but, the politics became so heavily involved. But, at the time, nobody ever dreamed that the WCW would be bought by the competition. And that Vice series that just came out, it documented a slice of it, looked through the lens of certain individuals. But there's so many different ways to look through that, rightly or wrongly so. But at the time, it was a very, very positive move for my career.
You came over and became champ. But yeah, and the Vice series you're talking about, I binged all for like catnip. It was called Who Killed WCW. And what? So the politics you're talking about, what the hell actually happened at Bash at the Beach 2000? The laying down for Hogan and Vince Russo coming back out and Booker T winning it that night. It was insane.
We don't. We don't have enough time to go into that. I'm going to tell. It has been covered again, multiple different angles. But the Bash at the Beach was a microcosm of how WCW management was run. That's kind of your cliffhanger. That's your Entertainment Tonight a buzz. It's your lead in. Go check out myworldpod.com on YouTube, and you can watch all the episodes.
There you go. Well, you got to plug My World with Jeff Jarrett to see the full thing. But you've been generous with your time going through all this. But I have to hit the post Vince buying WCW and you launching NWA TNA, Total Nonstop Action in 2002. Because for a lot of us, that's a lot of our memories watching you was a decade whatever plus of that. So I think I still remember watching that first one. I think Toby Keith eliminated you from like a battle royal or something. But
Jason, you are well schooled, or either you have Wikipedia pulled up, but I think you're maybe a little of both, because you know some tidbits through there. But in 2002, without a number one, there's no such thing as another number two, and vice versa. And so huge void in the marketplace, and we launched TNA. They just celebrated another anniversary called Slammiversary. Launched in 2002, June to be specific, and it's still going today. Hats off to those guys. But it was a company that was near and dear to my heart from 2002 to 2013, and then I moved on from that place.
It's awesome. It's one of your many legacies. Well, earlier one more on TNA. Earlier I asked you your favorite match from that first run, in WWF, and you said the series you had with Shawn Michaels. So how about during your whole run at TNA? Was it AJ Styles or Mick Foley or Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy?
I always kind of throw up. Me and Hardy had some good ones, but I really think a young AJ Styles. There's some real hidden Easter eggs, if you will, in those early days of TNA between me and AJ. And then, of course, my series of matches in 2010 and 11 with Kurt Angle. At that stage of my career, me and Kurt, it was super competitive, very, very physical in so many ways. But it's a series of matches I'm very proud of as well.
Yeah, awesome. We've had AJ and Kurt on this same podcast. Absolute beasts in the ring. Unbelievable. All right, well, so then you, just to kind of bring it a little more current to the present, so you get inducted in the TNA Hall of Fame in 2015, and then the WWE Hall of Fame in 2018. And I'll never forget, man, watching those, how they film your reaction when you get the call that you're going into WWE Hall of Fame. You seemed really legit emotional. Like, how special was that? Were you legit surprised when they called? I mean, your body of work deserved it, but just after so many years gone from the company, it must have been really special to get that call.
It was a shocker. I mean, it goes without saying that, me starting TNA in 2002 and the path, but me and the organization never really had any. I don't want to say a lot of people, a lot of things have drawn into it, but at the end of the day, it was all about business. But I had come out of a very dark period of my life in the end of 2017, and 2018 started off literally with early January 2018. I got that call, and I was humbled. I'll say that it was it was a very surprising move, but also a very humbling move, and so I was grateful for the opportunity, and I know my wife and kids were as well.
Absolutely. And the state of the business has honestly, never been stronger. Probably the hottest since that whole Nitro and Attitude era, if you ask me. I mean, the numbers they're doing, it's through the roofs. Do you think in a way that you paved I mean, Cody Rhodes is WWE's champ right now. Do you think you paved a way for him to go and start AEW back a couple years ago? Like, do you think he followed your model of what you did with TNA?
Well, yeah, I think it's entirely really two set of different circumstances. Just because it goes without saying, when the Khan family, they're the ones who made the ultimate decision to write the check. At the end of the day, very grateful for the Khan family, Shad, and his son Tony. But what a tag team they make! When they made the decision, it fundamentally changed the business in a very positive way. Because for so long, the opportunity to have a challenger brand was difficult. But when you were on 2 hours of TBS every Wednesday night, 2 hours on Saturday night on TNT, an hour on Friday nights, 5 hours of cable network television, and everything that goes with that, with the streaming and the digital component, the social media component, it changes fundamentally so many things about the business. When we started TNA, we were coming off the Attitude Era, and I say this with complete sincerity and all due respect. TV networks would not even take phone calls. They were, because of the advertising, I guess you could say, such a bad taste and distasteful, because the Attitude Era was not sponsor friendly under any imagination.
It was very It was very raunchy back then.
It was, and that, along with the television executives, might not be understanding the DNA, but what they did know is that Nitro and Thunder were top 5 programs in the Turner networks, and they canceled the show. So wrestling was almost, or no, it was a 4-letter word in 2002. Fast forward to 2018, the opportunity was absolutely primed in so many ways, because of the streaming world, because of the content, because of sports rights value, if you will. So it was really two different times. I'm just grateful for that they made the decision to get in, because, like I said, I think without question, the old adage, rising tide lifts all ships, could not be truer in the application that it goes with professional wrestling. Because when you look around, our success last year at Wembley Stadium, over 81,000 people. We can go down the list of the different WWE accolades, as well as the AEW. TNA just coming off a 4,000 seat sellout in Montreal. And you can just kind of look at the independent business, how it's thriving. You can look in Mexico and two major promotions down there doing record business. You look at Japan, literally all around the world. Wrestling is really, really thriving. And it used to be stepping its toe in and out of pop culture. Now wrestling, when you see, the World Cricket Championships and the winner from India doing the strut, going on stage, when you see a NFL player catch a touchdown and do a strut or do some kind of wrestling catchphrase or sign or whatever it be, wrestling is pop culture. And I hate to say this, and we'll kind of wrap toward this, my man Jason.
Yeah.
When you look at the political landscape, if you don't see professional wrestling ingrained in so many things, whatever it may be, sound bites, throwing barbs against each other, professional wrestling is really at the forefront. And when you go back generation after generation, Muhammad Ali, the greatest, is how he catchphrases. He'll tell you he slipped in the back door of the Louisville Gardens and understood professional wrestling at a very, very young age, and that's how he modeled kind of his persona. So professional wrestling's always been in and out of pop culture, but it is a part of pop culture now, and it's truly here to stay and just going to get bigger.
Perfectly said. Perfect way to wrap it up. Yes, you guys are doing Wembley, and WWE is about to do this huge deal with Netflix next year. Like, it's just rising and rising. And so all the best, rising tide, raising all boats. Jeff Jarrett, it's awesome to see. Your grandfather and your dad would be proud of what you've done, man.
Oh, I hope so. But I hope so, but I know I'm most importantly talking to you, and I get to hit you with the guitar Friday night. That's right. We're going to do it right out there. I mean, I don't know if we're going to do it at the top of the first, but the keys and the scrappers are going to be taking it on 7 p.m. right out there at Harry Grove Stadium. Fireworks after that. And Jason, you just let me know. Maybe it's the seventh inning stretch, and we stretch that guitar around your head. I don't know, but we're gonna have fun. I know that.
If you're challenging me, I'm gonna throw you in a figure four right on the pitcher.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Again, awesome. Thank you so much. Again, everyone, WWE Hall of Famer and current AEW star Jeff Jarrett. It's going to be coming to Nimio Field at Harry Grove Stadium, home of the Frederick Keys here in my hometown of Frederick, Maryland, this Friday, July 26th, tomorrow. So everyone, don't miss it. Thank you so much for doing this. This was an honor.
Yes, sir, man. You have a great afternoon, and see everybody Friday night out at the ballpark.
All right. JEFFJARRETT. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, dude. You have a great afternoon.
You're awesome. Thanks. See ya.
See you, bro. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.